Hi everyone, this is Sharon Richardson. Today I'd like to do a engraving project for you. A lot of people are having a little trouble as in centering their engraving projects onto Design Space, and the way that you do it is centering it on the mat. So without further ado, I'm going to go over to our creative space over here and show you exactly what it is that we use to get this project up and going. Now, the first thing that we use is a strong grip mat. Now, this mat here is our purple mat. This is a brand new mat. It's best if you can use a brand new mat because it has the most grip to it. The next thing you're going to need is some blanks. Now I have several blanks here. One is just a plastic disc that I got from, I don't know, one of those buy-in group things. It is a plastic one, this one, and it's suggested that you mirror it from the back. So apparently it comes through the other side. I haven't used one of these before. The next thing that we have is one of the blanks to make a bracelet or bangle, I guess you could call it. Now you will have to note that you do have to take off the plastic cover on the top here, so don't engrave it with the plastic top on. Make sure that you do take this off. Okay, it's just there to make sure there's no scratches that go onto the actual blank itself. The next one that I have here is a little dog tag. These are also, it's from, I believe it's called Impression Art from Spotlight. And I do have some here. Yeah, Impress Art from Spotlight. So this is the type that you will buy. Aluminium bracelets. I know that some people call them aluminum, but here in Australia we actually call them aluminium premium blanks from Impress Art. There are several different things that you can buy on the internet, and but you will need to know just exactly how thick these are, because with the Cricut Maker you can only use something that is up to 2.4 millimeters thick. Now on the back of this one here it actually says dog bone 1 5/8 by 3/4 inches by a 16 gauge. Now the higher the gauge, the thinner the actual piece is. But what I actually have here is a caliper. So you can buy these calipers on eBay for, I don't know, under $10. Some of them are digital and some of them are just your old-fashioned wind-up one. I actually got a digital. So all you do is you bring this back here, you place your blank in there. Now that one then says, I don't know whether you can actually see that, it actually says it's 1.2 millimeters thick. So then I know that I can use that blank. Now if I go to the bottle opener here, which I got, then if I put that in, you can see that that's 3 millimeters, so that is way too thick to fit inside the Maker machine. And of course you will need to use a Maker. You cannot do this on an Air 2, Explore machine, any of those that just use a fine blade tip. You will need to use also a quick swap housing. Now this could be the one that you've actually got with your scoring wheel, but you will also need to use your engraving tip. Now this is a 441 or 41, and you can see the point on the end of it there. That is the engraving tip. So if you press the button down on your quick swap housing, then your engraving tip just goes straight in there like that. You release the button and it's there to stay. Now when you put it in your machine, make sure that you don't press that button, because if you do, this will drop off the end and then it'll be running around somewhere in your machine. Okay, so make sure that you do not press that button. However, to take it off there, you do press the button and then take it off. Okay, like that. So it will then go back into the housing when you press the button again. So you're going to need your engraving tip. You're also going to need some painter's tape, either the blue painter's tape that you can buy at Bunnings. I'm sure that you can buy it at some of those cheap shops as well. I've also got a gold painter's masking tape here, and you can also use your everyday masking tape. You just need something that's going to hold that blank onto your strong grip mat. Okay, now that being said, the next thing to do is to find out how big your actual blank is for your design space. So now, I guess there are several different ones that you want to do on the internet, but if you can't find any, then a good idea is to get a piece of white cardstock, cardboard, probably something that doesn't have a texture on either side. Is best for you to use so that it's nice and flat. I've actually got a piece of Cricut craft board. And then the thing to do with this is to get your blank, place it down onto your sheet of card. Let's grab 2 of these here today. Okay, so then you get your pen, and this is going to determine how big this is. Now you can actually do this just by using a ruler, or you can do it this way. I prefer to do it this way so that I know just exactly how big this piece of blank is. This one here is the dog bone. So you just run around it with your Cricut fine point pen. This one's a 0.4, and just go around it like so. So there we have the blank of this one. So I have that, right? Next thing is to grab your bangle, and you'll do the same thing. You just draw around it like so. Now, if you have a scanner, then of course you can scan this in. Oops, don't worry about that, we can get rid of that. Okay, so there we have that one. Have I got any more? This one, I mean, you can just do a circle for this one if you like. But while I've got it here, I'm just going to go around it. Okay, so there's our circle. And I thought I had another one here, but obviously I don't. So, oh, and the other thing you may want to use is one of these stamp enamel markers. And that is that after you've done your engraving, you then run this water-based pen over your engraving, let it dry for 1 to 3 minutes, and then just simply wipe off the excess, and you get that antique look that's gone into the engraving that you've done. All right, so now once you have your blank here drawn, just fill that little bit in there. Okay, then just take your mobile phone. Oh, there's my other blank. I thought I had another one. Okay, let's do this one as well. Because the blanks that you buy here in Australia could be different to the ones that they show on the internet from America. So I think it's a good idea if you can use what you've got here in Oz. So there's another one. That's a different kind of dog tag. All right, so there we go. There is our blanks on our card. Don't worry about that piece there. I can get rid of that. Okay, so that's what it looks like. And then what we're going to do is to take a photo of that with my mobile phone over here. And then I'm simply going to upload that to Design Space. So I'm going to take a photo of that now. There we have it. Okay, so I've taken a couple of photos of that, and then I'll show you what the next step is. Okay, our next step is to go to where I've stored the pictures and go onto Design Space. I'm going to do this on the telephone, seeing as I have uploaded, or I've actually taken the picture onto my phone. So I'm now going to go to a new project, and what we'll then do is we will go to the upload down here, and I'm going to upload the image. Take a photo, select from the photo library or open uploaded images. So I'm going to take it from my photo library, which will then go into where I've just taken the photos. So I'm going to grab that one there. Now there is our photo, and we are then going to clean it up. So I'm going to use the remove. And it's left us with that. So there we have it. Now there are our blanks. Now see how easy that was for you to do, or for us to do. Now if you notice, we've got this little piece up the top there, so we need to get rid of that. So we're going to go up here onto that and remove that. Okay, we've still got a few little bits and pieces up here as well. So we're going to then erase those. Get rid of those up there. Okay, so then we just go next. Now I'm going to save it as a cut image. So I'm just going to call it Engraving Blanks. Engraving Blanks. Okay, so I've got that there, and then I'm going to save that. I've still got that little bump on there, so this is where I have it here, and I'm going to insert that. Now of course you can do this on your PC as well. Next I'm going to then choose a shape, come over here, and I'm going to bring this one down and put it onto that area there. One thing I'll do before I go onto the PC is to save our project, and we're going to call it the same thing, Engraving Blanks, so that when I go on the PC it's actually there. Okay, so alright, I'll be back in a sec. Okay, so our next step is to get it up on our PC or on your tablet, or customize our design. It could be on an iPad. Most people use iPads these days. You can do this on your phone, but for me with older eyes, I think I actually need the PC. So now I've left that there, my square, and excuse me, and this is because I didn't clean it up before, but this will give you an idea. So now I'm going to choose both of those and slice those and get rid of that little piece that's there. And I could have done could have cleaned it up earlier, or just did another one without it. So then I grab those pieces. Now then I'll get rid of those and delete those. Now I'll go over to the shapes again, grab another shape. I am going to change the color of these up here next to the cut line type. I'm going to change those to white, just so it's easier for me to see. Okay, so now we've got our square. I'm going to unlock that and then place that over the top. Then I'll select them again and then I'm going to slice. And you do this with each of the pieces that are there. So we don't need that piece now, and we don't need the outside piece either. So that's roughly what it's going to look like. I can now rotate that a little. And yeah, I know that there's a little piece down there, but I'm not going to worry about that. Right, so there's our dog tag. The last one that we have is our circle, which you probably use at Christmas time. It's 7 in circumference. It's come up as 8, but it's actually 7. And it is from top to bottom 7.5, so 7.5. So we still need to change this. Now the reason that I'm doing this, as you can probably gather by now, is that makes these exact for your blanks. So then when you go to do your project, you've got the exact size that you need to go onto your mat. All right, so the next thing that we do now is we will choose our font. So you'll go over to your text. Let's see, what are we going to write? Okay, I can pop on here, maybe Coco. Okay, so Coco there. Now, when you choose your font for this, you will need to choose a font that is multi-layer. And the reason for that is because you need to go over and over and over with your engraving to make it sort of, to make it legible so that you can actually see it. Now there are several different multi-layer. You can see here it's got single layer. You wouldn't be using one of those. You would be using something that comes up as a multi-layer. Let's have a look and see what we can find here. This is a block layer here. That's got an arrow there, so let's choose this one. Okay, now you can see in here there's a layer there and there's a layer there. Now to me that's not enough, so let's go and change that again. We'll go back to the one that was above that one. Let's see how many they've got there. No, it's still only 2 layers. We need it so that it's probably got, 3 or 4 layers to it. Either that or you would double that over. Let's have a look if there's something in the filter. Multi-layer, we'll just go here. but we need something that you can actually see as well. Still only got 2. If it's only got 2, then I would probably double that up again. So we've got 2 here. I would then make another, duplicate that again. I would then center one on top of the other. So go up to a line here and center those so that they're directly on top of each other. And I would probably do that again. Duplicate that again. And then center that one on top of the other by aligning to the center. And then I would attach that so that we have the word cocoa. Okay, so now we need to make that a lot smaller, and I am going to change the color of that. Then I'm going to center it in here on the tag. Now if I put this in the center, you'll see that it basically goes straight in the center there. Even though it just looks, to me it looks a little to one side, so I usually go back and then check the center horizontal just to make sure that it's correct. Okay, so there we have our cocoa, and it's on our blank here. But what we don't want to do, we can group that together, but what we don't want to do is attach that, because the simple reason being is that we don't want to then use those two together, because we don't need the blank. All we need is the text. Okay, so we have our cocoa, and we need to change our text from cut to engrave. All right, so now we've got our cocoa, which is going to engrave onto our blank. And then we simply go to make it. Now you'll see that we've got cocoa and we've got our blank there. So we're going to bring our blank down to our, right to the center of our mat. All right, there, it's right in the center. Then we're going to grab our cocoa, our text, and we're going to put that directly into the center as well. So that's what it's going to look like on our tag. Okay, so now what we simply do is we then take our tag, our blank, we click on our 3 dots there, and we're going to hide our selected so that we still have our cocoa in the center of our mat. And then we simply continue. We're going to choose our maker. Now we're going to browse all materials. We're going to choose our anodized aluminum, or as they call it. For us it would be anodized aluminium. We might even make that a favorite if we can. and then we're going to go done. Now it's going to ask us to load the engraving tip in clamp B, and it's also we've got our pressure as default. Now because we have our cocoa, which we duplicated many times over, probably 3 or 4 times over, I don't know that we're going to need any more pressure on that. If you only had like the 2 or 3 passes on it, then I would definitely probably do a little more pressure on that. So now I'm going to take you back to our creative space here, and we're going to pop our blank onto our mat. So here we have it here. Take the sheet off, get our blank. Now our blank does need to go directly in the center of our mat. So we're just going to line this up. You can tell it's a brand new mat because I'm sticking to it. That's directly in the center. Now this is where you will need to use your tape. What I tend to do is to brayer that down so that I know that it's stuck on there. We'll use some painter's tape. Now you want to get your painter's tape directly just over the edge. You don't want any tape or anything onto the actual blank itself where you're going to do your engraving. So we're just going to put it right on the edge there. Make sure that it's taped down well. And same on the sides. This just stops it moving around on the mat, because anything that moves on the mat you will not get a good cut. Good cut, engraving, or whatever you're doing. Alright, so there is our blank on our mat. So now we're simply going to take that over to our Cricut Maker. Now we're going to go directly to our maker over here, and I'm just trying to do the camera so that we can get fairly close up. There we go, and we're ready. Yep. Now we're going to load our engraving tip. Make sure everything's down, and away we go. Okay, so now we're finished with that, and let's see if you can see that. Right, so I've taken another blank here, and that's one of the bangles, and I'm just putting the last piece of painter's tape on it just to hold it onto the mat. Simply going to give it a burnish as well, just to keep it there so I know that it's not going to move anywhere. All right, so that one's ready to go. We'll go back to design space. So now I have the tag here, and I'm just going to hide that. I'm going to go back to my blanks here. I am, however, going to do the same thing that I did with the text. See, we have the text here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got that done 4 times because the text that I use didn't actually come up as, 3 or 4 layers at a time on there. So I just want to choose a font that is the same, multi-layering, and let's have a look. We want something that's a little bit more, let's have a look. This one's nice. Okay, so now I'm going to type in a name, Linda, that'll do. Going to make the letter spacing a lot smaller so that it comes in, and I like the cursive to be connected. So now I'm going to ungroup my letters. I'm then going to choose a letter, and then I'll just simply use the keyboard, the arrow on my keyboard, to bring that in. It's not quite there, so I'll just bring it in a little bit more. And then I choose the next 2 letters, and I'll bring those in. There we go. And then I'll just choose the 3 letters, and I'll bring those in, just like so. So now I have the 3 of them, and then I'm going to weld that, and then I will simply duplicate it probably 4 times, and I'll choose all 4, go up to a line and center them so that it becomes one, and then I'll attach them. Don't weld them again, just simply attach them, because you do want them to go one on top of the other so that you do get the engraving. Okay, so that is almost as big as that, so we need to bring it in even smaller. We need to then center that. There we go, on there. And I might even put a little shape or something on there as well. Let's go to images, and let's put in swirl. We just want some sort of swirly kind of pattern to go at the end. Something like that looks alright. Or even that looks good. Maybe this one. Insert. Now they're going to come in huge. There we go. So let's get rid of this one, and we'll just use this one. But what we will do is we will rotate it. And we're going to make it small. Going to change the colour, but it's going to change anyway when you're doing your engraving. And we need to do 2 of those. And we're going to flip one, like so. Bring that over here. Then we're going to go to align, and we're going to align at the bottom so that we get them both exactly the same. I'm going to group those together. And we're going to pop that down on there like that. Make it smaller. Get the whole lot. And we're going to center it. This, I think what I will do, because it's only got one pass on it, so I will duplicate those again into 4, and with them all I'm going to group them. I'm using my layers panel here with my control key down so that I can choose them all. I'll go up to align, and I'll go to center those so that they all go one on top of the other. Then I'm going to group those, and then I'll simply pop it back where it was. Go up to align and center. Right, so there's our Linda, and there is our pattern to go with it onto our blank. All right, then once we've got those grouped together in a group like that, then we need to attach those. Just like we did with the Linda, so they're all attached. Okay, so then we've got those ones, so then we can grab that attach of the Linda and our swirls as well, and we can attach those so that they're still together in one piece, but we don't want to weld them. There we go. Okay, so now the last thing to do is now to remove this and hide that. Then we continue. Choose our maker. Browse all materials. There it is, Anodised Aluminium. We've got our engraving tip already selected. So we're going to press our go. Machine is checking that we have the right blade. And this is our blank for our bangle. So we've got our Linda on there like that, and actually it's come up really, really well. Let's have a look. Yeah, it has. It's come up really well. So I guess the idea would be to use at least 4 passes for your engraving for it to show up really well. And also it may be a good idea also if you would then use your drawing tool to make your blanks with. And even if you use a piece of cardstock, I'm just taking these pieces off. And there you have it. It's actually come up very well. There we go. Linda. Now I guess if I went over that with one of these, and sometimes you get that little, those little bits that are a bit sharp on there as well. I wouldn't suggest that you use anything like a sandpaper, but maybe even a buffer like you do with, you know, with your nails. You can use a buffer, and that would get rid of those rough edges. But if we were to run this over the top, and I think I'll use a dry cloth this time rather than a wet one. So if you use a tissue, then you may even get bits in there. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also to our Facebook group, Cricket Fans of Australia.